Okay guys, welcome to AutoCAD. This is Unit 8, Introduction to AutoCAD. This video is going to be going over the size A metric sheet from just the basics of where you can find the AutoCAD icon all the way to finishing the actual template for the metric border, size A. So right away, what you need to do is you need to open up AutoCAD, the AutoCAD folder, I'm sorry, not folder, but the actual icon, let's just call it, on your Autodesk 2017 or 18, whichever year you're watching this, English. If you do not have this icon, call me over. I will put it on there for you, and we can be good to go. So, and you will then open up to this screen here. What I want you to do immediately is go right to New or File New, doesn't matter. After you do that, a screen like this will pop up, which will be going over templates. There is only two different types of templates we're going to be dealing with, a decimal and a metric. This is decimal, this is metric. So because of this template going over metric, we're going to click this template. If you do not do that, you're going to pretty much do all of this for nothing after you have gone through the video and you go to dimension and it doesn't look right. So after you open that, let's just go over some quick things here. So a ribbon pretty much is pretty self-explanatory. This is where you can find all your commands, either home, insert, annotate, and then so on. For any reason, if this does not look like that, it's because you need to select this little minimize tab for ribbons, and you just multiply click it until it looks like it should, like you see now. Again, you don't have to go with the style I choose. You can do whatever style you want. I seem to find this very easy to navigate with. So we've gone over ribbons. What we need to do then is we need to go over File and Save As. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to have you guys save all your stuff in your Z drive. So if you scroll down to your first initial last name, and at that point you should make a folder just like drafting. So as I go through this video, you need to make the folders that I tell you to. So go ahead and pause it and right click, new folder, and then name it, of course. Now I don't need that one, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. But you guys will need one that's called drafting, so you will make that. Once you get into drafting, you guys are in AutoCAD, not mechanical, so you're going to make a new folder called AutoCAD. If I open up AutoCAD, these are all the units you need from Unit 8 all the way up to 16. Pause the screen, or pause the video and do exactly what you see. If you ever get confused on what that looks like, you can also look back here into AutoCAD, and you can see them all right here. These are all the units. All right, so we're going to go into Unit 8, and you're going to make one called Templates. As of right now, there's nothing in here, and that's why we're going to save our first template, size A metric. Enter. And you're going to notice up here where it says Introduction to AutoCAD, this is pretty much the breadcrumb trails to where I'm saving my stuff. Introduction to AutoCAD, template, size A, that's what I've called it. If I hit save again, it's just going to simply say the file or the document name and the type. So there we are. Make sure you're saving all your files as a DWG. So if you go back into File, Save As, you're going to notice you can select all different types of methods here, from all the way up to the newest or even the oldest. I find 2013 AutoCAD is the best. And the reason why I say that is because there's not a lot of AutoCADs out there that are 2012 and below that I have updated on these computers. Plus, how do I say this? Older models cannot open up newer AutoCAD versions. However, newer AutoCAD versions can open up older files of AutoCAD. So that's why I always keep it at 2013, and it works great. All right, so now that we have saved our stuff and we have appropriately put all of our stuff in the importance of file location, the next thing we're going to talk about is the Page Setup Manager. So this is the model space, is everything that you're going to be drawing on. And if I scroll over to these two screens, this is the paper space. Okay, and this is pretty much your title block and all that other stuff. Go ahead and delete one of them because you don't need, you only need one of them. Go ahead and right click and let's rename this, and we're going to name it as size A metric. Okay, now that you've gotten that, I want to right click this and I want to go page setup manager. This will pop up. I want you to then go to modify, and we're going to choose the printer and the plotter. I'm going to drop this down. You're going to be looking for HHS Drafting 306 color. If you do not have this, you need to call me over and let me show you how to choose the right printer or download that printer. So there it is. And the reason why we have to choose this one is not only because it's color, but when we push the policy for the actual software that goes with my printer here, if you use the one online, it doesn't give you the entire printing margins. So I've chosen one and personally downloaded it on your computers. So just let me know if you don't see that. Okay, I won't touch anything else. I'm going to say okay. Notice the paper changed in the background here because it gets a lot bigger, the margins. Okay, close. All right. Now, before we get going any further, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to talk about how we go ahead and find all our resources within this unit. So you could personally go to AutoCAD, or resources and then AutoCAD and find everything, which you will need to later on. Or what I've done is I've went ahead and put all the resources you need within this unit. So the dim style for metric and decimal and the alphabet of lines and the size A, things we'll be going over soon. But the one that I want to touch up on, guys, is the actual size A border. So if I go ahead and blow this screen up, we're going to be doing metric. So I'm going to scroll down, and by the time this video ends, you would have completed this entire drawing with even the text inside, your M liters, all this other stuff, and we should be good to go. So there's that resource. The next resource is the alphabet of lines. So if I open this one up, this goes over all of our layer properties which we'll be making, and I will not be showing you making them all, but I will show you making like a couple of them. So there's that. With all that being said and done, how about we make layer properties? So I'm going to go right up here to layer properties. I'm going to open up this screen, and it should look like this. I'm going to go ahead and scroll it over, and at this point I'm going to go new because I'm making a new layer. This layer is going to be called border line. Okay, the color is going to be black. The line type will be continuous. The line weight, however, is going to be 0.9. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now, how I find that is by the alphabet of lines. Borderline is what I name it. This is the line weight. This is the color. This is the line type. So I'm not going to show you the continuous, continuous, continuous. I'm going to go ahead and do the hidden, and I might do a center line. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a hidden line. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to hit new again. I'm going to go hidden line. The color is cyan. The line type is a hidden line. Now notice I don't see it here. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to load another line type. And we're looking for a hidden line. So I'm going to scroll down until I see hidden line. And you will come to find out that there's going to be 3 different types of hidden lines. And the hidden line that you're choosing is just hidden line. Don't do the 0.5 or the 2 times the size. So just typical hidden line, you're going to say OK. And now you're going to select it and say OK at that point. There's my hidden line. My line weight, however, for this will be 0.3 millimeters. There's that one. All right, let's do one more, and then I'm going to pause it, and you guys will do the rest of them. This one, we're going to go ahead and do the center line. The color is blue. The line type is a center line. center line, not the other two, just typical regular center line. I'm going to say OK after I click it, and then the line weight will be a 0.15 millimeters. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. You do the rest. Okay, guys, now we're back here. I've gone ahead and made all of my layer types. And again, you guys will go through your alphabet of lines to find all of this. Just recap here. This center line, or I'm sorry, this section line, it's a continuous. Do not do a small dash dot. We just don't do that anymore. So continuous line, there it is. All right, my layer properties is done. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to close this out. So now if I drop this down, you're going to notice all my different types of lines. Okay, and that becomes important because what we're going to end up doing is making a border now. So I've already looked at the size border. So before I get to drawing, two things that I always like, it's a pet peeve of mine when I come and look at a drawing, is if your command bar is not dropped down and taking up this space. And the reason why I say that, guys, is because if it's like this and I do a center mouse click twice, notice my command bar covers up this space, and I don't really like that. But however, when it's brought down like this and I center mouse it, it gives me my entire view, and it doesn't allow me to be obstructed by this command bar. The other part is I'm going to make my properties window come up here. So I'm going to go ahead and select an object, and it doesn't matter what, just you must be selecting something, and right click and then scroll down to where it says properties. At this point, this is my property bar. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to snap it to that far wall on the far left. And now I simply see everything that I'm going to need to know here, along with my command bar and my actual window on what I'm viewing and drawing. So make sure you have that all set up. I don't know, it's a pet peeve of mine. I like it. It works really well for me. So right away, we're going to go ahead and make a border line, and we're going to start drawing this border. I'm going to go ahead and do a rectangle, and I know the size of this object, so I'm going to go something similar like this. I know I'm 268 millimeters, 0.75 by 205 millimeters. Now, notice my dotted line represents my print margins. If I went ahead and file print this, okay, and we've already set up the page setup manager, and I hit preview, you're going to notice, well, I guess I got pretty close. But if I was to move this, let's just say a little bit onto the line, it would be cutting it off in the view. However, I don't like how close it is compared to all these other edges. So I'm going to go ahead and select everything, and I do that by clicking once and then scrolling up. Green scroll bar or box, however you want to say it, whatever this green box touches, we'll select it. And that's by selecting once and then scrolling to the left. If you scroll to the right, it's a blue box, which means whatever you encompass, it will select. So here's an example. I'm blue. Notice it's not lighting anything up, but if I go over my viewport, boom, it'll light that up. It won't light up my actual border that I just drew. So click once and you're good to go. If you click and hold, you can make all sorts of different types of shapes, and then whatever the green is touching, it'll select it. I'm going to go ahead and move everything by just selecting M for move, and I'm not going to manually go up to my ribbon and click move. I'm going to use my command bar by just simply typing in M or physically spelling it all out, and then hit M for move. I'm going to zoom in here real close. I'm going to grab that corner, and I'm going to kind of make it look nice. I'm going to check all my other edges. And again, we don't need to make this look perfect as long as it prints fine. Okay, now I've got my border up. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line. And notice I'm still on border. I'm going to scroll in here. I'm going to let the corner snap to it, but I'm not going to click. Because if you click and then click again, you have a line here, and that's pretty much a double line, and they're horrible. Don't do double lines. So I'm going to draw a line, but I'm going to scroll over it. I'm going to pull off of that corner, and I'm going to type in my 9.5 millimeters. And at this point, I'm going to scroll all the way over to the corner. Now, I'm going to do it again. I know these measurements already, so you might have to look at the actual, what am I trying to say? The resource to find out how it looks. But there it is. I'm going to hit escape to get out of that. And now instead of just keep clicking this and scrolling over 19 like I am, I'm going to do a quicker method, which is pretty much selecting the line, typing in offset. Okay, now of course if I hit my down arrow I can navigate through these, but I already know that I'm trying to do an offset. And I'm going to type in my 25.4, hit enter, and now I'm just going to click. Boom. Ooh, it went the wrong way. I'm just going to click it again. Oh, it's still going the wrong way. So notice it's wanting to automatically snap back to this corner, so I'm going to make it manually go over here. There it is. And there it is. Notice we have two lines here. If I delete one of them, there's still another one there. Okay, so that's all set up. And they're all border. A real quick way to identify whether it's border or it's something else is either you can select it and it'll light up and do something different. So like, here's an example. I mean, it looks like a center line, right? But if I make this, let's say, an object line, we can't really tell the difference. Okay, I can physically select one of them and it'll change up here. Okay, or I can do a little method that's called a line weight, showing the line weight, meaning the thickness and how fat it is. If you do not have this bar down here where it says show line weights, you can simply customize your toolbar down here by selecting the far right customization and going right to line weight. I already have it, so I'm going to go ahead and click it, and you're going to notice, of course, this looks like a border. Notice, see how fat that is compared to this? That's probably not the best justification. So if I change that to, let's say, a title block, now you can definitely tell the difference. I know that that needs to be border. Now it looks gorgeous. Okay. When I'm drawing, I don't like to look at that, but it's just a quick justification to make sure everything's looking right for your drawing as you continue drawing. Let's say I mess up and I make this the wrong type. I can just simply change that by just selecting it and changing it. So, back to border. Okay, we have a border set up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the fields, which is the title block. So I'm going to go to the text, click the corners just like so, and I'm going to go middle center justification, and I'm going to step my way through this entire thing. I know my text needs to be this, and the field that you're going to be using is going to be a document field. It's going to be the file name, and it's only going to be the file name only. That way I know that you guys are saving your stuff appropriately. And now I'm going to make another one. This one is going to be your name, which is technically your login, to make sure that you're logging into your correct computer and you're not just stealing someone else's drawing. Plot. This is going to be login. There it is. And don't have to change anything else. Boom. I'm going to go ahead and Control A to select it all, or I can physically scroll it over and then change it back to my 3.175. You're going to get all these measurements if you go back to the template, the size A drawing sheet, and scroll down to metric. I'm going to go size A. There it is, center middle. This here is going to be the plot scale. Prior years we had problems where kids would make a drawing and then print it, fitting it to scale or fitting it to the sheet. And it's a bad principle to do that, mainly because the whole point we're trying to grasp to you guys when it gets to using AutoCAD is the difference between paper space and model space. It's important to know that, because if you go into the field of architecture or any type of engineering, you're going to need to understand how to scale drawings appropriately. All right, so we got the document name, we got who you are, we've got the scale, we've got the date. Now notice when I selected this one, guys, okay, if I just delete it again and do field, when you go to date and time, don't just automatically click OK. If you don't do date, it's going to automatically do create a date, and it's going to put in today's date. and then it'll never update and never change. Okay, there that is. Perfect. Now these last two you're going to manually put in because there's no way of a field to be notified what period you're in, but we are going to have you just put that in there. On period 0, this last one is the only field or title block that you need to change throughout each unit, and that is what unit you're in. Okay, this size, however, is going to be small. It's going to be a lot different, 1.587. It's going to be tiny, just a tiny thing. Okay, now if I go ahead and hit my line weight, this is border, and it shouldn't be border. Okay, it should be title block. So I'm going to select them all. I'm going to change it to title block. There we are. Bring back the line weight away. Okay, so recap. We've gone over ribbons. We've set up your page setup manager, which is your printer. We've gone ahead and explained to you how to draw a border. We've gone over alphabet of lines, which is going to be your layer properties. And we went over the title block in the field. So a couple more things we're going to go over before I let you go. So viewport. This is a hard thing to grasp, okay? The viewport is a window that looks inside the model space. So think of this sheet as your house, and the only way to find the models that you have drawn on your model space is to have a viewport, and that is this window, okay? If you don't have one of those and you need to make one, okay, notice I can't select between model space and paper space because without that viewport, I can't, because there is no window. There's no window looking back on the model space to find out what you have. So I need to make a new one. So I'm just going to simply type in viewport. Oops. Okay, or viewports, plural. Enter. I'm going to make an active model configuration, and I'm going to select my corners that I want to see. Now, real quick, I'm just going to do it here just so you guys can grasp this. So if we go back to model, and let's just draw something weird. And it doesn't matter where you draw on here, okay? It's a complete blank canvas, and there is no typical coordinates other than your X, Y, but you can move those. So it really doesn't matter where you draw as of now until we put a border in there. So notice I'm on paper space and my whole screen is moving. If I go to model space, the inside only moves. Now if I scroll over, see my crosshairs? Once I go outside my viewport, it disappears. That is the window. Now I put my viewport down at the bottom of my border because it's important you guys grasp the idea that the viewport should only fit in the viewport window. It should not expand down into your title block, because then you will typically have drawings sitting over your name or your period, whatever it is. We don't like that. So I need to go back to paper space, grab my viewport window and put it within the window space. And I need to change my layer to viewport. There we go. All right, now notice I can see it, right? So I really don't want to see it. So what I'm going to do is simply select it, or not even select it, just go over here to my layer properties and freeze it. Whatever's frozen will not print and you will not be visible. Unfreeze it, you can see it. You don't need to see viewport, so just freeze it. Now, here's my window. I'm in paper. I'm going to go back to model. Here's my window. Just the way we want it. Notice it disappears as it gets close to my name because that's not including the window where I want it to be. Okay, now that we have made our viewport, and you guys hopefully understand that, because if not, you will really start to understand it in Unit 15 when it gets to working drawings. So we're at 25 minutes. I'm going to try to speed this up and finish off. So we've talked about viewports. We're going to go ahead and make the drawing space that you're going to be drawing all your models in on model. And we're going to center it. So I'm going to go back to paper space. I'm going to select my border like so. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go clipboard, copy with base point. I don't really care where I click, but I click a corner. It disappears. I'm going to go to model. I'm going to right click, clipboard, paste. Now it's tiny. And it's supposed to be tiny. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply select that and drag it up. And then I'm going to delete that line. That right there is my window of what I draw and center all of my drawings within. So if I go back to size A, if I center click my mouse twice in model space, you know, I can try to get this thing dead on and center. I could simply click 1-to-1 and then try to move it around to meet those corners. Or I can simply select the center mouse twice and notice how close it gets, and then just change this to a 1-to-1. And it gets exactly where I want it to go. And then I'm going to lock it. Now locking it, watch me rotate this screen in model space. It shouldn't move the paper, but it's going to because I've locked it. Got me? Ooh, a little off there. So I'm going to go ahead, go back to my model space, scroll out, center click twice, change it to a 1-to-1 and lock it up one more time. Oops. Okay, looks good. Now if I don't want to see my grid system, I'll just turn it off. Bink. All right, so at this point we have made our model space. Now don't move this, because if you move this, then it's going to move over here. So this is what I draw my drawings within, and we're set to go. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to set up your dimension layers. So if I go ahead and go right back to OneNote real quick, you're going to notice that I have a tab here. It's called Metric Dim Style. I'm going to go ahead and click that, and this PDF will pop up. I want you to go ahead and follow this PDF along word for word, do exactly what it says, and do not forget the second half, the M-leader style. Once you're done, you should be good to go. And I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and I'll let you guys get caught up. I guess I didn't think about it, but you guys really don't know how to get to this. So what you end up having to do is you have to type in dim style, D-I-M-S, and you can finish typing it if you want, or just hit enter. And this screen will look like this screen. And then you'll go ahead and fill it out. Okay, so at this point you have followed this all along. I'm going to go ahead and delete this after making a new one. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to delete this one too, because the only one we need is the HHS. So just real quick so you guys can see, gone ahead and gone through all of these, so you should be good. I'm going to go ahead and select it once. I'm going to say set current. At that point I'm going to close out. Notice this is black, and the only reason it's black is because I'm on the border layer. If I change this to dimensions and then go back into dim style, it's going to be red. So I might just real quick make sure my text isn't getting, oh yeah, I screwed up. There we go. Okay. There we are. Okay, so my dim styles are set up. What you need to do then is dimension everything. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my size A. Open this thing up, scroll out, and it should be dimensioned just as I see it here. So here's AutoCAD. I'm going to be on my dimension layer. I'm going to go right to linear dimension. I'm going to click the corner. I'm going to click the corner. I'm going to scroll off. Now this distance off is important because it should be 3/8 for the first set. Notice I'm not clicking. I'm scrolling over it and I'm scrolling off at a 90-degree perpendicular. And I'm going to type in my measurement. 9.5, I'm sorry, is 3/8 in metric. 9.5, not 9.35. So we're going to go ahead, finish this off. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so your dimensions should look like this. Every single one of them should be 9.5 off because that's 3/8. If I was to stack another one, that would be a 1/4 inch. So one thing I want you guys to notice is I have a line on top of a line over here, and I don't like that. And that's not the appropriate thing to do. So what we're going to do is get rid of this extension line that's sitting on top of these. So I select it. I look over my properties, I scroll down to the extension line, and I turn them off. Either I can click it and drop it down to off, or you can just simply scroll. Watch it turn off. Boom, it just went off. That one's done. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to do the other line, this one. It's important which one you do, so I'm going to turn this one off. That's the one. If I did this one by accident, then I lose it. I need that one. I don't need that one. Okay. These two need to be off entirely. So I select them both at the same time, and we're set. Last but not least, I got to put some M liters in here, and I did not put my M liters in. I didn't go all the way to the bottom of my screen. So I'm going to have to do this. Type in M liters, M liters, scroll down one, hit enter. I'm going to pause the screen. Okay, here we are. I've gone ahead and fixed my M liter style. I don't need the standard anymore. Now the reason why it won't let me delete it is because that's what I'm using. So if I select it once and say set current, I should be able to delete it now. Oh, I guess I won't. So I guess that one will not be able to go away. Yeah. Maybe it'll let me delete it once I go back into it. No, it won't. So some of you guys may be able to. I was not able to. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to liters, and I'm going to notice it's not letting me select my text. So I'm going to go down to my snap nodes, and I'm going to change this to nearest. And now I'm going to be able to select. And you need to type in what it tells you to type in. And the only way I'm able to know that is by simply looking at my size A drawing sheet template. So it's going to tell you all this. So you got to have all that in there. Just so I know that you're doing your M liters right. So this isn't a specific size. It just needs to be done. And they are a title block layer. So change it to title block. Pause the video, finish the rest. Okay, here we go. I've gone ahead and put all of my M liters in that I need to. The drawing title, the name, the scale, the date, the period, the unit. I need to now go ahead and put in where it says size A metric drawing sheet, the title block text. I need you guys to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to AutoCAD. I'm in paper space. Keep that in mind. I'm in paper space. I'm going to go to text. I'm going to select this entire window. I'm going to do a middle center justification. I'm going to change my text to the size it needs to be. And I'm going to type in exactly what it says. Size A metric drawing sheet. And then title block text 3.175. This should be underlined. So I should be underlined it. Perfect. All right, that looks good. Notice it's title block layer. Everything looks good. Oh, I forgot one thing. This text down here needs to be smaller, so I need to make sure I write that in here. So parentheses 1.587 parentheses. That's the size for that text right there. Okay, this one is, I think it's done, 100%. We've gone over where to find the icon for AutoCAD. We've gone over the ribbon, and of course, as you continue in AutoCAD, you'll find out more things. We've gone over the page setup manager, which you will contact me if your printer does not show up. We've gone over border size, where to find the resource, the alphabet of lines, and the layer properties, the dim styles, the title blocks, the fields, which is all down here, the viewport, hopefully you grasp that, and the dimensioning. So everything's done. The next thing I would need to do is just hit File, Print. And of course, I don't ever have to change this because I set up my page setup manager and I hit OK and print. You're golden. That right there is 20 points. Of course, I might have to change the point system now because this is way too easy. Okay.